Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman to reply the discussion.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. I thank all the members, more than about 30 of them who have spoken on this subject. There are two. One is the Appropriation Bill and also the Finance Bill. Without taking too much of time in making an opening statement, I'll just briefly tell about what specifics are noteworthy in the Finance Bill, and post that try to address the members who have raised issues or sought clarification on some of the specifics in the Finance Bill. So the Finance Bill 25 actually continues with the philosophy of our government, whereby we want to provide tax certainty. We also want to do ease of business related steps, and that is an ongoing process, and this Finance Bill also has some very important ease of doing business related steps, and above all, honor the Indian taxpayer. So major steps have been taken towards Indian taxpayer, both in the sense of the personal income tax and also for those businesses which depend on import of raw material and also have encouraging policies which can help exports. So we have ensured that we honor the taxpayer and take such policy measures which will help them so that India can speed up its progress towards 2047 for a Vikasit Bharat. So the income tax is one of the major things about which many of the members have come personally to me to thank, and I actually thank the Honorable Prime Minister who set me on this task much before the budget preparation commenced to say, please look at what are the possibilities of helping the middle class and also helping the taxpayers. And I must thank the entire team in the Finance Ministry, where all of us had to see what are the kind of things we can do. And once we came up with the tax proposals and presented before the Honorable Prime Minister, he readily agreed and said we should honor the Indian taxpayer. So please, this is something which I support. So I am grateful for having made the entire Finance Ministry's job easier when we went with a proposal, because the tendency would be for the Finance Ministry to be cautious, not to let go revenues. But here we really wanted to use this opportunity to make sure that we respect the Indian taxpayer, and that's where we moved towards giving this 12 lakh as the number till which no one will have to pay any tax. Of course, if you're earning up to 12 lakhs, you don't pay anything. If you earn more than that, there is a simplified, now that is also brought in this Finance Bill, which is now passed by the Lok Sabha and is for the consideration of the Rajya Sabha. The rates have also been brought down, and the slabs have also been made to smoothly move from one to another without huge jumps. Absolute simplification. And as a result, when you give rates which are going to be lesser than what it was before and gradually improving, gradually increasing in rates, the benefits accrue for everybody. So it's not as if we've given only 2 crore taxpayers, but we've given for every taxpayer some of the other benefit. Of course, it's very favorably skewed towards the lower income groups and the middle class. And that is why, in order that we don't lose revenue, but yet give the relief, we brought in the rebate system, which I'm sure any person dealing with the finances and also the public finance observers will understand. It's a legitimate way of giving that additional succor for those who need it. So that is the personal income tax. I don't want to get into details about what the marginal benefit that we extend for those who just cross 12 and what happens to them. Do they end up paying higher than before and all that? So even for that, enough explanation has been given during the budget speech itself. The second major thing that this finance bill does is to bring in the TDS rates rationalization. In fact, in respect of sale of goods, the requirement for TCS under Section 206C 1H is proposed to be completely done away with. These kind of steps, which are either bringing it down or completely removing TDS and TCSs, help the tax assessee and also help those who collect the tax and who have to remit it in the government's account. So, and also to reduce the multiplicity of rates and compliance burden, it is proposed to bring down certain TDSs and certain TCS rates, the TCS which has been done away with, I've already said, and increase certain thresholds for the requirement of tax to be deducted at source or collected at source. So both the threshold is being raised and the TDS collection itself is being brought down. So other than that, there are several members. I was hearing when Member Seth spoke about how people who have second house, or the first house which they are occupying, and buying a second house and which they keep under their occupation, are also now being proposed to be removed from taxation, or even from the way the taxpayer had to declare saying it is under my occupation and therefore no tax should be put. So those kind of compliance burdens have also been removed. In order that we help providing certainty for international taxation, the scope of the safe harbor rules is also now expanded. So this will reduce litigation. And in order to continue the support that we've been giving for the startups, we've allowed the incorporation before 1/4/2030 also to benefit from all those benefits which have been announced all the while. So that incorporation date deadline, which was coming to an end by 31st of this month, has now been extended till 1st April 2030. So it is important, again, to talk about what the Finance Bill has done as regards customs duty. I briefly did mention that by bringing down the customs duties or by exempting or removing it completely, we are actually benefiting those small and medium industries who import intermediary goods or raw materials for their products, mainly, many of them, in fact, which mainly they use for producing some goods which they in turn export. So anyway, we wouldn't have allowed them to have the tax be exported. But even for those who are not exporting within the country, by bringing down the custom duties, we've actually helped in the manufacturing sector in this country. So we have used this opportunity to rationalize tariff structure and to address the duty inversion. Through this, I feel there will be more domestic value addition in industries. It will promote exports as well and absolutely facilitate trade and provide relief to the common people. So the customs, if I can take a minute over it again, customs rate structure announced in July budget has been further followed up in this budget as well. The 25-26 budget, about which we had discussed earlier, now I'm talking about the Finance Bill, proposes to remove 7 customs tariff rates for industrial goods. So 2 tranches of rationalization of customs tariff has happened. So far we have carried out, and they have reduced the number of tariff rates from 21 to 8, completely bringing it down, including the zero-rated ones. Many Indian exports will become now more competitive as the cost of imported inputs will completely be reduced. Only one other step which is very important, sir. We have now very clearly stated that only one, either the cess or the surcharge, will be applied per item. So social welfare surcharge to be exempted on 82 tariff lines which are already subject to a cess. So the burden of a cess over which we bring in the burden of the surcharge will no longer happen. So the budget proposes to add 35 additional capital goods for the production of EV battery manufacturing, EV battery, and also 28 additional capital goods which are important for production of mobile phone battery are now being added to the exempted goods list. So they are not going to anymore be taxed. Therefore, we will be enabling the production of EV battery in this country and also more mobile phones and mobile phone batteries in this country. So those capital goods being exempted will actually benefit these two sectors. I've also read during the budget that fully we exempt basic custom duty on cobalt powder and waste, the scrap of lithium-ion battery, lead, zinc, and 12 more critical minerals. All these are in addition to the 25 critical minerals which were fully exempted from BCD in the July 2024 budget. So if you would see that consistently, budget after budget, we are coming up with reduction in duties so that India's aspiration for being a manufacturing hub and also India's aspiration in building capacities for battery manufacturing, advanced chemistry is being supported. So this is a consistent thing. I heard quite a few members saying, oh, the tariff war has started. So in response to the tariff announcements made by President Trump, here are we doing it? No, we have been doing it from 2023. Steadily, every year, newer items are being brought in, keeping in mind Atmanirbhar Bharat, at the same time Viksit Bharat's requirements, as much as simplifying the customs duty and the compliance details. So this is an ongoing process. It is nothing to do with today's global situation, but a process which will continue even in the future. So, sir, one other relief which is important for me to put on the table here is we are extending the time limit for the end use of imported inputs in the relevant rules from 6 months to 1 year. Just to explain this, there are a lot of exporters who import items and on the very clear understanding that these imports are for value addition or manufacturing of a product which will get exported. So we allow it without duty, and when they come, they are expected to be used, produced and exported out within a matter of 6 months. Many exporters had difficulty. They wanted an extension of time, and therefore we have given them 6 months to 1 year. What was 6 months, we have extended now by another 6 months and said if you imported an item without duty and you want to export it, you have full 1 year's time, comply with it for that within that 1 year. And also for such importers, we will now have to file only quarterly statements and not monthly statements. Now it is monthly statements. We are saying, all right, you do it only quarterly, so that the compliance burden is completely off their shoulder. So there is one particular amendment which we brought in as government amendment, but it's now cleared from the Rajya Sabha, so it's part of the finance bill which has come here. I would like to highlight that. For the first time, our government had implemented the full parity between the pensioners of pre and post 7th Pay Commission, Central Pay Commission. All pensioners of the central government who had retired before 1/1/2016 are now drawing the same pension as employees who retired after 1/1/2016. The demand of pensioners regarding parity has been agreed to and implemented by this government. I'd like to thank Prime Minister Modi for having brought in that treatment, equal treatment for all pensioners, and this is something which we have taken on board in this finance bill. The Prime Minister had approved the establishment of the 8th Central Pay Commission also, which is now, I'm sure all members do have the information on it, to revise salaries and benefits of central government employees in January 2025. So just to highlight as to why this amendment here. The 6th Central Pay Commission, sir, was an expert body that had threadbare examined all the issues, disparities, and even the representations by employees before making their recommendations in March 2008, which thereafter, upon careful consideration, was accepted by the government. the manner of fixing pension, which was recommended by the 6th CPC, was similar to the previous CPCs. So, through this amendment, which we brought in the Lok Sabha and after Lok Sabha's passing, which is now before us, that the government is restoring the recommendations of the 6th Central Pay Commission and respecting it as an expert body. In this, I just want to add keeping in view the recommendations which the 6th Central Pay Commission had said, a distinction among pensioners is inevitable, and that is what is being brought in. And as an amendment, and by way of validation, I want to highlight that the validation is what is being put in, and principles of expenditure on pension and liabilities. The validation rules do not in any way change or alter the existing pensions so fixed of existing civil pensioners from the present stage. So there is no change. The validation rules also do not affect defense pensioners in any way, as they are covered by separate rules. It is not an amendment. I would like to underline this point. It is not an amendment to any pension rules or instructions, but only a reaffirmation of the same with effect from 1st June 1972. That is the date the CCS pension rules were promulgated. The 6th Central Pay Commission made a distinction between the retirees pre-11-2006 and those of post-11-2006 periods. The then government, 2008, had accepted the recommendations of the 6th Central Pay Commission and decided that there will be a distinction between pensioners with reference to the cutoff date of 1/1/2006. The 7th Pay Commission has brought in parity between pre-11-2016 and post-11-2016 pensioners. I again reiterate that this is only a validation of existing rules. This does not alter or change existing civil or defense pensions. So these are largely the points about the finance bill that is before us for consideration, sir. Now I'll like to respond to individual members and their comments. So I'll obviously start with the first speaker, former finance minister. It's a bit difficult when it comes to a finance...
Honorable Finance Minister, two of the honorable members who had the occasion to intervene in the debate have sought my leave of absence from here. Dr. John Britas and Sri Raghav Chadda. They have sought my leave. Okay. They had something urgent to deal with. Please, go ahead.
Sir, the former finance minister's observation was that the NDA government started with 4.3% of fiscal deficit. It certainly improved to 3.4%, but it rose to 4.8% in 2024-25, that is now. And that the previous governments also had faced various types of crisis, Asian finance crisis, GFS, the global financial crisis, taper tantrum, and so on. So he gently pointed out, saying, it's not right to blame the COVID pandemic. So I'd like to just put it on record here that in 2014, when Prime Minister Modi's government was formed, India was the 10th largest economy. Today, within 10 years, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, we've reached the stage of 5th largest economy, and within a few years, we will be the third largest. And if the previous UPA governments also faced crisis, which he listed out, Asian financial crisis, GFS, taper tantrum, and so on, I'm constrained to mention here, the economy was a fragile 5 economy. You faced crisis, but where did you leave it? We faced COVID. Where are we keeping it today? That's the difference, sir. And therefore, I don't for a moment believe that the former finance minister wouldn't know these facts. But I take the liberty to put it before you, saying, oh no, you faced the crisis and the outcome was fragile 5. India's GDP was 10th largest in the world. We faced a crisis, but India is one of the fastest growing economy today. Sir, and also, we also faced crisis, and therefore, you facing COVID, I'd like to draw the attention of this Honourable August House, sir. Congress-led UPA itself admitted that India was not unduly affected by the 2008 global financial crisis. In 2011, sir, the then Finance Minister, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, had said, and I quote, India, unlike most other economies, was not seriously affected by the financial turmoil of 2008 in the developed world. So the crisis was not big, even by the then standard. And COVID is a different one, in that it was not just a financial crisis, it was a crisis for lives. People had to live to come out of it. And livelihood was also severely affected. It is in that situation to provide domestically made vaccine to all the people, at least 1 dose, and some 2 doses, and some even the 3rd dose, and then make sure that moratorium is given, no industry should suffer, no one should be pulled up to the court saying you're an NPA. So a comprehensive plan was laid by Honourable Prime Minister to save lives, livelihoods, and recover the economy. So, I want to highlight, sir, also a few points from the white paper which was released in 2024. In the 6 years between 2009 to 2014, the ratio of India's gross fiscal deficit to gross domestic product was at least 4.5%. It was between 4.5 and 5 in 3 years, between 5% and 6% in 1 year, and more than 6% in 2 years. What was hidden was even higher. The special bonds, that is the oil bonds, in lieu of cash subsidy issued to the oil marketing companies, fertilizer companies, and Food Corporation of India, totaled nearly 2 lakh crore in the 5 years from 2006 to 2010. Accounting for such hidden debt would have swelled the fiscal deficit from 6.1 to 7.9% in 2008-9 alone. So, one, the numbers were not really stating the full story, and two, you really didn't face a big crisis, which is the words which I can see from Shri Pranab Mukherjee's own statement. So the crisis was nowhere in comparison, now that I'm looking with the benefit of hindsight, and the numbers were anyway not telling the whole story. So I would like to submit in all modesty that comparison was not right. And second, sir, unfortunately, former finance minister also said no one remembers the budget. Every one of the taxpayer, as I said a minute ago, has benefited. The small, the low income and the middle income ones have benefited substantially. And we want to do that. We want to respect the taxpayers. Actually, when there is a level of expectation being met, I'm not saying every expectation is met, but at least when the middle income groups wanted some recognition and some relief, and when we have given something, people are I've also been traveling to different places where I've been talking about the budget. I've heard people say, thank you very much, it's a great relief. We can now decide where we want to use that money, consumption or investment or savings, or spend on our children's education. So actually, there are people remembering the budget for that and coming to me to say that, which they didn't have to.
Last week in Chennai also people can do it.
Yes, sir. So people remember the budget or don't remember the budget. I'm seeing it as probably this budget has not given enough things with which the Congress is able to thrash the government or hit the government saying, oh, you've not done this, oh, you've not done this. In general, they are unable to pick anything as criticism, and therefore this generic, no one remembers the budget. I would like to think that that was a statement in a left-handed sort of way, compliment for the budget. So then, I thought the worst thing was to hear this from the finance minister, former finance minister. I can't believe he said this, but I want to admit, and therefore I want to explain why that wasn't right for him to have said it. There's no fiscal strategy in the fiscal policy statement. There is no guarantee that the fiscal deficit will decline. Sir, just off the cuff, since after 2020, we gave ourselves a glide path for the fiscal deficit reduction. And every year, if anything, anyone could have looked at the fiscal deficit number the moment the budget was read out. Not 1 year did we slip. Every year we've kept with the glide path given, and we are going towards meeting the fiscal deficit which we have given in the glide path, which everybody has looked at. So, the government has actually brought out a clear fiscal strategy for the year 25-26, and that is as required by the FRBM Act 2003. I would like to mention that a full section has been dedicated in the medium-term fiscal policy strategy statement, explaining the government's fiscal policy strategy in 25-26 budget document set that you get. It is there. I quote from para 37, the medium-term fiscal policy strategy statement. I quote, sir, the fiscal policy stance for 25-26 inter alia includes cross-sectoral reforms to augment the economy's growth potential and its employment intensity, boosting domestic demand, continued focus on effective capital expenditure, creating new capacities and cutting-edge new technologies, investments in the development of human capital, saturation approach to social welfare, and strengthening the social safety net. Its objectives are to invigorate and sustain inclusive and equitable economic growth, enhance resilience, to mitigate risks, protect the vulnerable sections of the society, and bolster the country's overall macroeconomic fundamentals, unquote. So this is there in the document which was presented during this budget. I would like to further mention that the very para itself very much aligns with the government's own policy announcements, which was made in the budget speech. I quote again from para 3 of the same statement. The nimble fiscal policy strategy adopted by the Union government in the past COVID-19 pandemic years has generated desired fiscal policy results while providing for the country's development needs. In line with the commitment made in budget for 2021-22, the country is well on track to attain a fiscal deficit to GDP ratio below 4.5% in 2025-26. Continuing on this path, the Union government in the budget speech of 24-25, the regular budget, has outlined a medium-term fiscal policy stance. It seeks to keep the central government fiscal deficit to GDP ratio such that the debt to GDP ratio is on a declining path. And this is in Annex 1, so anybody can see it. So it's amazing that in spite of this explicit mention in documented sets which go out, these are clearly given. I would request and appeal to the former finance minister to go back, look at these. Look at these, read these. And they are in alignment with what we've said in the budget speech. They are not one way, we are not another way. Everything aligns. Sir, with a bit of hesitation, and I hope you will give me that little margin because I'm defending my position here. I find if the former finance minister says something here in this House, actually on those items, on those issues, Government of India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi achieves that much and more. I'll give you one example. Sir, on 9th February 2017, former finance minister spoke and he said he doubted the digital transactions, the digital public infrastructure that we created. And he said, and I quote, "You have now made certain transactions mandatorily non-cash. I support it, but that is the way to go. And not to tell people, go to your village fair, buy potatoes and tomatoes, and pay 7 rupees 50 paise by a credit card. What will the poor lady do? Does she have a POS machine? Does she have a POS machine there? Is it connected to an electricity source? Is there a Wi-Fi there? Is the internet working there? What kind of false picture you are presenting?" Unquote. Sir, action proves what we have done in terms of digital public infrastructure under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. So, the concern expressed by the former finance minister has been squarely addressed. Similarly, in the fiscal deficit related concern that is expressed, I'm sure he will now appreciate that we have laid the path both for the immediate term and the medium term, and we shall achieve it like we've done it till now, all the 4-5 years. This year ends the number, coming year will end the number, below 4.5% fiscal deficit. Not 1 year's slippage. I'm sure this should give him adequate confidence to believe and trust in Prime Minister Modi's leadership. So about the levies, withdrawing of the levies, is it a reaction to President Trump's tariff war and so on? I have briefly explained it, that we have been doing this since 2023. Very clear example. There were two types of equalization levies. 6% levy imposed in the financial year 2016 and 2% levy imposed in 2020. which were applicable before July 2024 itself. The 2% levy was removed after stakeholder consultation, sir, in July budget to ease the compliance burden. And that was much before President Trump, even before he took his office. And similarly, several other steps have been taken. So the 6% levy which is being removed is a part of that process. And that's what is going on. And as I said, we will continue to rationalize on customs. So the last three, without taking much of a time. Member Sagarika Ghosh spoke about 10 years later, where is Sachedin? I want to just know, first of all, I'll tell you where the Achedin ka voices will come. Yes, Sachedin for us. But before that, I want to remind that the party which she represents has not given any Achedin to the people there, even per the Ma Mati Manush slogan that they follow. Because the cut money group, the Tolabasi group, is not allowing the good deeds to go down. Whether of TMC's good activities or the government, central government's good schemes, both TMC schemes and the Government of India schemes are not reaching the common people. The Tolabasi is like a huge iron filter. It doesn't seep through. Therefore, for Member Sagarika Ghosh, who have certainly seen her fiery anchoring in television channels before 2014, I've even participated in some of her debates, I would like to say, sir, Achhe Din for us is tirelessly serving the nation so that the common people benefit, and I will explain. We are tan samarpit, man samarpit, and desh ke liye ye jeevan samarpit. And through you, sir, I would like to tell Member Sagarika ji, instead of questioning from a biased political perspective, ask a common citizen, ask anywhere, Bengal or anywhere, who have directly benefited from our schemes. They are transformative. 55 crore Indians, if you ask them, especially women, empowered with bank accounts under Jan Dhan Yojana, अच्छे दिन आए हैं कि नहीं, जरूर बोलेंगे अच्छे दिन आए हैं, क्योंकि जन धन अकाउंट उनको मिला. Ask 4 crore families who received PM Awas Yojana, Jandan, PM Awas Yojana, अच्छे दिन है कि नहीं, अच्छे दिन है बोलकर. Ask more than 12 crore rural households enjoying the dignity of toilets under Swachh Bharat mission, अच्छे दिन है. Ask 12 crore rural households receiving tap water under Jal Jeevan mission, अच्छे दिन है. Ask over 10 crore families liberated from smoke-filled kitchens under PM Ujjwala Yojana connections, अच्छे दिन है. Ask beneficiaries buying affordable medicines from 15,300 Jan Aushadhi Kendras at 50 to 80% cheaper rates, अच्छे दिन है. Ask 37 crore citizens protected by Ayushman Bharat's 5 lakh health insurance cover, annually 5 lakh, अच्छे दिन है. Sir, 68 lakh street vendors provided with credit support under PM Swanidhi. They are all guaranteed by Prime Minister, and the sovereign guarantee provided. They don't need to give any security or papers to be given or gehna being given or gold being given. Achhe din hai. Ask beneficiaries of over 50 crore loans sanctioned under PM Mudra loan. Achhe din hai. So, अच्छे दिन, sir, I want to say this, अच्छे दिन उन्हें ही दूर लग सकते हैं जिनके लिए शासन का मतलब सिर्फ भ्रष्टाचार और तोलाबाजी है. Sir, Member Priyanka Chaturvedi, I'm not sure if she's here. She spoke about cesses and surcharges. I want to underline, sir, I'm sure the honourable member is quite informed on this matter. It's not a novel tax that we have brought, cess or surcharge. It's been, for a very long time, a part of India's fiscal policy. Health and education cess and surcharge, for instance, were introduced in 2004. And as per Article 270 of the Constitution, cesses and surcharges are not shareable with the states. It's constitutionally clearly said. So for us to be told, you are not doing it, no. That's how the framework is. However, the receipts of levy of cesses are for meeting specific expenditure of the union government, be it education, be it health, be it road, be it transport. And contrary to the claims, sir, that states do not benefit from cesses and surcharges, I'd like to clearly say these are the funds which are being used for centrally sponsored schemes like Manrega, National Food Security Act, and these schemes are either predominantly or fully funded by the centre but implemented by the states. Thereby, it benefits them. Sir, for example, Samagra Shiksha midday meal schemes are all funded by these cesses and surcharges. The states are the ultimate beneficiaries of cesses, as the cess collection are spent in the states itself. I want to underline the fact, sir. In the 6 years between 2019 and 20, and 24 to 25, 1920 to 24-25, 6 years, the cumulative utilization has exceeded collections, with 105% of the total cess collected already utilized. That is, in the 6 years, amount collected under cesses and surcharges is 15.14 lakh crores. What was utilized by the states? 15.97 lakh crores. So much more than what is collected in cesses and surcharges have actually gone to the states. So central government does not sit with that money because these are collected for specific reasons. So I literally come to the last one thing. Before I say that, the last point, I was quite fascinated by Honourable Member Thambidurai's intervention when he was talking, because we often hear statements, and one or two points which Honourable Member Thambidurai said is something which is important for us to recollect. He said, if I've heard him right, the overall outstanding liability of Tamil Nadu is more than 8 lakh crores. I guess member said that. And during the DMK period, 4 lakh crores have been taken in addition. This 8 lakh crore, 4 comes during the DMK rule. We don't know where the money has gone. And the DMK members criticize here about the central government. I'm indeed grateful to Member Thambidurai for having said that. And he also spoke about the scams where there are raids and so on. But I want to use this opportunity to talk about tax devolution to Tamil Nadu, sir. Sir, 58,021 crores has been budgeted as tax devolution for the upcoming year, 25-26, which will start from day after tomorrow. Tax devolution to Tamil Nadu between 2004 and 14 was 94,971 crores. Between 2014 and 24, which is the last year, we are not including this year, 2,92,013 crores, which is 207% more. Grants and aid and from Government of India during 2004 to 14 was 57,925 crores. Now meaning 2014 to 24, 2,55,875 crore, 342% increase. So, if I'm comparing only two periods, sir, I would like to say net proceeds of shareable central taxes to states under finance commissions. Yes, I'm just going to read that. Will you please just hang on? I'm giving the percentages. 12th Finance Commission, sir, 2005 to 10, 30.5%. Net proceeds of shareable central taxes to states under finance commissions. 13th Finance Commission, 2010 to 15, 32%. 14th Finance Commission, 2015 to 20, 42%. 15th Finance Commission, 2020 to 26, 41%, and that is 1% reduction because of the UT, which is J&K. Now, sir, I also want to underline the fact that the Finance Commission, 14th Finance Commission, when the report was submitted and 2014 Honourable Prime Minister received the report and the Cabinet went through it and so on, there was one recommendation, sir, which is very important, because I've heard Member John Brittas also talking about central schemes, Priyanka Chaturvedi ji talking about, central sector schemes and so on. That Finance Commission, which actually raised the devolution from 32 to 42%, had said, you may please close down all the central sector schemes, now that the devolution is far more than before, from your hands to the state. Close the central sector schemes. You shall shut it. No centrally sponsored schemes. But Prime Minister Modi, having been a chief minister in a state, understanding the requirements of the state, said, no, I will continue with these two schemes as well. So, if we are being repeatedly told, the Finance Commission gave this, he is actually keeping in mind the states and their priorities, did not go by that recommendation, which said you can shut these schemes. Having given from 32 to 42, please, you can shut it. 32 to 42 is also accepted, but this suggestion is not accepted, and we still go on funding the central sector schemes and central sponsored schemes. So please, we need to please put it in context rather than hurry to conclude about. Sir, Kerala, I have Member Santosh Kumar. And John Brittas, of course, has sought your permission not to be here today. With this, I will finish, sir. I won't take much of your time. Kerala has received 1.57 lakh crores in 2014 to 24, the current reference period, which is an increase of 239% over the UPA period. How much did they receive during 2004 to 14, sir? 46,300 crores. What are they receiving now? 1.57 lakh crores. Kerala is being differentiated, discriminated. Please, we follow what the recommendation of the Finance Commission is, and that is what is going to you all. And that is not lesser than what you received earlier. Grants and aid surged by 509%. Percentages. What did they receive in 2004 to 14? 25,630 crores. What are they receiving during 14 to 24? 1.56 lakh crores. Sir, over and above this, what the Finance Commission did not suggest, and I entirely give the credit to Honourable Prime Minister, that post-COVID, because states also will have to revive their economies faster, he made it a point to say, please give a special assistance of capital expenditure for states. 50 years interest-free. Kerala received 2,715 crores. That was not even mentioned by the Finance Commission. But here we go. We made sure that Kerala also receives and doesn't suffer. So Kerala has never been, and I like to say this with a sense of responsibility, has never been supported better than this government, the way in which Prime Minister Modi has supported it. In terms of actual numbers, in terms of actual projects. And I'm not naming the project. There was a project, sir, where highway has been extended from one destination to a point, and from the other destination to this point, but midway, there was it the Kollam Junction or something, which was waiting for 40 years. It was Prime Minister Modi who completed that little bit. It was litigated upon. From A to B, the road goes, but there is one little patch which, because it was in the courts and other things, every government gave excuses, it wasn't completed. Prime Minister Modi made sure that every hurdle was crossed legitimately, and that project was completed. 40 years for a road. That's fine, but wasn't it taken earlier? The initiative was not taken by state government earlier. It required Prime Minister Modi to come. Pehle karna tha na? Don't, please. 40 years they sat with it. Different central governments. They didn't do it at that time. State government also took initiative. Of course, it's your land. You will have to take initiative, but you didn't do it till before Prime Minister Modi came. So, sir, sir, I'll tell you. Sir, I'm sorry to have to bring this. I wouldn't have said it here in the House. And these are not my words. But it's hurting to hear Kerala repeatedly saying that you're discriminating against Kerala. You're discriminating even in our borrowing. April 1st, 2024, on a matter related borrowing limits, which is definitely supervised under Article 293. Sir, you are an expert on the Constitution. I don't need to talk. Article 293, Centre has the authority to look at the borrowings of the states. In that matter, they went to the Supreme Court, sir. And on April 1st, I'll just read two observations which were given. I never would imagine, I didn't think I'll be having a day when I have to say this, because all right, it happens in court, you have a difference, I have a difference, we go to the court. But repeated, in spite of giving all the facts, repeatedly alleging, oh, Prime Minister Modi doesn't do this for Kerala, doesn't do this. I want to quote the court's words. Supreme Court's own words. Quote, if the state has essentially created financial hardship, if the state, I repeat, if the state has essentially created financial hardship because of its own financial mismanagement, such hardship cannot be held to be an irreparable injury that would necessitate an interim relief against the union. I didn't say it, unquote. This is Supreme Court, sir. Another line that they said, we, again quote, we find prima facie that there is a difference in the mechanism which operates when there is underutilization of borrowing and when there is an overutilization of borrowing. The plaintiff, that is the state, Kerala, has not been able to demonstrate at this stage that even after adjusting the over-borrowing of the previous year, there is fiscal space to borrow, unquote. They thought they had more fiscal room to borrow and kept asking us. We said, you don't have the room. They went to the court, and the court said, prima facie, we don't. And the final quote, sir, again, quote, we find prima facie merit in the submission of the Union of India that after inclusion of off-budget borrowing for the year 22-23 and adjustments for overborrowing of the past years, the state has no unutilized fiscal space, and that the state has overutilized its fiscal space, unquote. Not my words, sir. And I wouldn't have wanted to bring this here because I want to work with the states, and I will say this again, I want to work with the states so that they are not in distress, but I have my limits under Article 293. And these are not my perception, court's words. One last quote from the CAG's audit report on Kerala state finances, report number 5, October 2024. I didn't intend to say it here, but when you repeatedly allege that the central government is discriminating against Kerala, I'm compelled to say this, sir. I'm sorry. The CAG audit report, I'm quoting, in 22-23, very important observation, sir. Quote, in 22-23, 97.88% of Kerala's debt receipts were utilized for repayment of outstanding debt. This indicates a poor debt management by the state government, unquote. The second one observation derived from the CAG report, sir, in the fiscal year, I'm not quoting here, in the fiscal year 23-24, Kerala state government allocated, very important, Kerala state government allocated 94,649 crores or 70% of its estimated revenue receipts towards committed expenditure, which is salary, interest, and pensions. That's a committed expenditure, sir. And certainly, therefore, the revenues will have to improve. You will have to improve your revenues. And if that is required, you can't constantly say it is because you have not given me my due. Okay, sir? And the last thing which I have to say here, therefore, the truth is Kerala's fiscal crisis is a result of both the UDF and LDF government's reckless policies and not the fault of the central government. All right. So, sir, I want to then say, so did it stop us from doing work in Kerala? No. As I said, Prime Minister Modi doesn't differentiate between states. He does for everybody. So what was given in August 2004, Union Cabinet approved the industrial node in Palakkad. Kannur Airport operationalized under RCS Udan. Site clearance granted for construction of a greenfield airport at Kottayam. Over 1,300 kilometers of national highway constructed in Kerala since 2014. 1,126 kilometers of national highway corridors being developed under Bharatmala Pariyojana in Kerala. India's first water metro inaugurated by PM Modi in April 2023. Kochi Metro inaugurated by PM Modi in 2017. 25 kilometers of rail operationalized since 2014. Huh? Old story. Old story. Money. It is still money. Old story. 60 years ago, when 60 or even more, when when Chief Minister, wait, you are from Communist Party, at least have this kind of a gratitude to remember this. When Namboodiripal's government was thrown out by the Congress. Until today, old as that, not this. You are using these roads even today. You are using these airports even today. But do remember the day when democracy was killed by an elected government being thrown out. Where were you at that time? Is that old or not? Metro abhi chalu nahi hai. Metro chalu nahi hai. Paisa kiske liye? Of course, you are a Communist Party member. You are sitting in alignment with Congress. Congress is the one which throw you out. You don't even want to remember that? Why are you being Namboodiripal? With respect, I will bring Namboodiripal, the patron of communism in India. You want to forget
Finance Minister. Honorable Finance Minister.
Sir.
That was the first ever left government in the world.
That's right, sir.
Right.
First ever elected communist government in the world. You're right, sir. Thank you for putting in that. Sir, I am astonished that relevance here. You said these are all old. That's old. I want to say, Santosh Kumar ji, sir, these are still in utilization. People are using these ports and everything else even today. And he says this is old. But for me, even that 1959 throwing out the communist government is not old. Shows how Indian democracy was misused by the Congress. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And a Communist Party member tells me what's the relevance of it. It hurts me no end, sir. It hurts me no end. I'm surprised. You should never forget it as long as you're fighting for your ideology. A minute ago you said, in ideology we'll fight with you. Arey, ideology bhul gaye aap. Bhul gaye. नंबूदरी पार्ट को भूल गए भाई सर. Kochi Metro inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi in 2017. It is still operational. Santosh Kumar ji uses it, but he says, what is it? That's old. He uses it, but he's forgotten. Not even a decade is completed, sir. 25 kilometers metro rail operationalized since 2014. Record railway budget allocation of 3,042 crores. 125 kilometers of new tracks constructed in Kerala since 2014. 2 Vande Bharat trains are started. 35 railway stations are being redeveloped. These are old, maybe for Santosh Kumar, but the people of Kerala remember all this. Social infrastructure, sir. I'll finish with this. 1.6 lakh houses built in PM Awas Yojana. 2.5 lakh household toilets constructed under Swachh Bharat Mission. Over 21 lakh tap water connections provided under Jal Jeevan Mission. 82 lakh Ayushman cards provided. 1,500 plus Jan Aushadhi Kendras operationalized. 66 lakh Jandan accounts opened. Accounts are running even today. People are using it. 1.6 crore mudra accounts sanctioned. They are all now people living in there and benefiting because they were denied all this earlier. Now it's being given. Thank you very much.
Secretary General, message from Lok Sabha.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to report that the Lok Sabha at its sitting held on 27th March 2025 passed the Immigration and Foreigners Bill 2025. I lay a copy of the said bill on the table.
I shall put the motion regarding consideration of the appropriation. Honorable Finance Minister, clarification.
Left to you.
Yes.
Left to you, sir.
Honorable.
Honorable.
Yes, it's there.
I'm
Both mics are there.
I'm grateful to the Honorable Finance Minister for clarifying the sections regarding pensions and the validation. I understand that. It was section 142 to 145 of the original bill. It has now become 147 to 149 or 50. That's correct. And therefore, in order to validate, she has given retrospective effect from 1st June 1972. That is also correct, and I'm grateful. But I want to know if it retrospective for 1st June 72, and it is only purposes validation of the past, why is there not a sunset clause at the end? This power, which she is taken under the original bill, section 144, will continue for the future also. So having given retrospective effect from 1st June 72, which is correct, she should add a sunset clause 31/3/2020.
Honorable Finance Minister.
Oddly, sir, I'm not getting into the details. Now newer pay commissions are also coming. They'll also talk about it. And based on that, the whatever has got to be affected will take place. So we'll wait for the new Central Pay Commission report, and from there we'll take it.
I shall first put the motion regarding consideration of appropriation number 3, Bill 2025 to vote. The question is that the appropriation number 3, Bill 2025, as passed by Lok Sabha, be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it.